Well, Uber bond buyer Bill Gross hitting the roof as we hit against that debt ceiling. He's actually furious at Republicans holding our nation's good credit rating hostage to what he calls political brinkmanship on the whole debt issue. By now, you know that many Republicans are not going to raise the debt ceiling unless and until they say there are big spending cuts as part of the deal. So is that a risky deal? And where's this headed? Let's ask Jonathan Hodig, Chris Hahn, and Francis Newton. Jonathan, what do you make of this?
Neil, this isn't a question of philosophy. This is solvency, okay? We're talking about $4 billion day after day after day being added to the national debt, trillions of dollars in unfunded liabilities. I'm sorry, what's risky is to keep spending. I mean, my God, Visa would have cut us off a long time ago. So I'm glad to see at least some in Washington getting serious about making the cuts to keep us from becoming the next Greece, the next France, the next Portugal.
Jonathan, this is not a credit card that you could just cut up. This is our national economy. In fact, the world economy is based on the dollar. We can't play games with it, and I'm glad that the speaker said he won't. He wants to see cuts. I think Democrats want to see cuts, but this is too important to let partisan politics and Tea Party rankering calm it down. We have to act. This was a ministerial act until recently, and now we have to just do it.
You say, right. But you say that people want cuts, but you've got Harry Reid saying that Medicare, Social Security are just fine. So they say they want cuts, but their actions don't fit their words.
And by the way, Chris, love you dearly, but it was President Obama as a senator who voted against raising.
Well, there's a very big difference between governing and being in the minority.
Oh, okay.
And John Boehner figured that out this week, which is great. And I'm really happy
Francis,
that he did.
What do you think of that? I mean, I think one thing I've noticed is 70-odd times we keep raising the debt ceiling. We keep repeating the same sins. We're in this deep doo-doo because we keep doing this, right?
Now, whatever we do, we cannot do anything severe. Now, we have to look at the mathematical implications of monetary policy. We have to go back to 1937 after the Dow had increased for 5 years, and they cut the spending because of the deficit 18%. This caused the V-shaped recession to go to a W. Personal income dropped by 15% and manufacturing dropped by 40%. This caused a liquidity crisis, and the money supply shrunk. We have got to keep public spending high enough not to have a liquidity crisis.
How did the debt ceiling issue do any of the above?
How did the debt ceiling issue? Because if you put the debt ceiling in place, you cut the spending, you restrict the spending. This causes a liquidity crisis.
Oh,
the thing that we need to do.
I was focused on the Vegas background there.
Wait a second, guys.
Circus, and you lost
public spending, Neil, if we cut public spending severely, we must increase the spending on the private sector because we have to keep liquidity and we have to produce our way out of this.
Things have got to be moving, right? Things have got to be moving at all times where people can't.
Yeah, but you know, the misnomer on this, Jonathan, is that it is disastrous not to, when in fact the money is still coming in. We would have to prioritize where it goes. If we want to avoid insolvency, you just pay off the debtors. You make sure that they're always helped out, much like if you and I were in a pinch, we always pay our rent and our mortgage. We would prioritize. So we would prioritize, right?
Well, they need to start prioritizing something, Neil, but, you know, many seem reluctant to make any substantial cuts. A few $100 million around the edges. What needs to be cut are the proverbial 800-pound gorillas, the entitlement programs that keep growing. Now, I know many on the left believe that government spending creates wealth, but take a look at Europe, for example, Neil. Since they began that austerity program in the last couple of months, the value of the currency has risen, the value of their stock markets have soared, so it's not necessarily true that government spending is what creates the wealth that everyone wants.
We do have to prioritize, Jonathan. You're right there, but we got to include everything.
They have tough roads ahead.
Everything's got to be on the table, defense included. Defense included. There are many defense programs that are obsolete that need to go at this point.
But you guys pick and choose, and I think to Jonathan's point, each side picks and chooses what they cut. What worries me, Francis, in the end, we don't make progress on this. So to those who want to say, well, stop this charade and use the debt ceiling as the moment you do stop it.
Well, Neil, I totally agree with you. The thing is, Neil, I completely agree with you. But if we drastically reduce public spending, which has been keeping this economy alive because the private sector completely died, if we drastically decrease public spending without keeping liquidity, we are going to be in trouble, guys. It's just history.
Well, Neil, of course, all that spending is creating inflation that you've talked about the entire show, whether it be in gas prices, food prices.
Have you been listening to the entire show?
Of
This is
course.
why I love you. You're my
Jonathan, I don't
honorary
think
little
we're done
brother,
with
and
an
you always do.
inflationary collapse yet.
I love that. I love that. Well, what do you make of his point there that, you know, we always keep repeating the same old thing?
You know, there's a logic to that. We do keep repeating, you know, and we have to have a grown-up conversation. Everybody
We never do. We never do. Because you know what? The grown-up conversation will go as soon as we raise the debt ceiling, we go, oh, well, now we can ease up.
You know what? I think everybody's got to kick back for a minute and relax. Okay, we're not going to not raise the debt ceiling. Sorry, anybody who thinks that's going to happen. We are absolutely.
We've done it 70 some odd times, and for all of that, we are still on the verge of having our credit rating downgraded.
Well,
with all of that, what does that teach you?
We're on the verge of having our credit rating downgraded because we're threatening not to raise the debt ceiling.
No, are you kidding? We are Mozambique on a fender right
sector
now.
is
Right
dead.
now, debt and management of debt is why we have a constitution in this country. It was fundamental, one of the fundamental reasons why we founded this country, right downtown here in New York City.
So just keep spending.
Just keep spending. We just keep repeating.
spending.
All right, guys, I wish we had more time because I still like looking at that shot behind Francis as well. But Vegas is a perfect because we are kind of, it is a crapshoot.
It's a gamble.
All right,
that's for
when we
sure.
come back, Hosni, it's time to packy. Actually,